Welcome to the Unicorn Connector Show, where we talk about relationships, revenue, and referrals. We'll dig into opportunities for people to generate revenue by making referrals from the relationships they establish. We'll also cover tips to grow your network, leverage it, and get paid residual income for life. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unicorn Connector Show. I'm thrilled about today because we are interviewing Jack Rand. He is highly skilled in the world of business and has tons of experience. As a strategic business coach and sales transformation specialist, the author of Sales of a Strategic Business Coach, and founder of Jack Rand Associates. He, as myself, was a very young entrepreneur, selling since he was 8 years old through his newspaper route, offering Christmas cards. So I'm really excited to have him here today because he has tons of value to add to everybody who is watching. And we're going to talk about how to convert hello into sales. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Jack, to the call. And yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, okay. As you know, I'm Jack Rand. I am a strategic business coach. When I started my coaching practice over 15 years ago, now I started out being a strategic business coach. As that, I was looking at the long view. In other words, where someone wants to take their business, take their practice, and then we back up into an action plan. Because what I found is most of the time when people struggle with achieving goals, their goals are kind of wonky. They're either not clear or they're too big. So we have to build that so they have a track to run on. And from there, we build their business. Over time, what's happened is people kept asking me, how do you sell? And now, given my background, my last paid engagement was I was working at HP, Hewlett Packard. And I was an inside sales guy. And my territory was San Diego, California. I was based here in Colorado Springs. And my first quota was $250,000 for the quarter, which I made. And I grew that to over $800,000 per quarter, right, in 18 months. My wife told me, says, Jack, I love you. You cannot work 80 hours a week doing this. So I had to figure out a way to get it done in about 40-ish hours. What I did is I didn't give names to everything. And as I started coaching, people were asking me about selling. So I had to put it into some kind of a system so I could teach it. Because most everyone says, hey, I need to close more business. So with that said, right, so how do I teach them how to do that? I realized that when I looked at the steps, the problem of closing is actually, the issue is really 2 or 3 steps earlier. But I had to find a way to show them that in the process of selling. Because a lot of people think it's alchemy. It's not. It's really a process. So I began to show it to them step by step, and we'd fix it one step at a time. And by magic, the closing issue would go away. So over time, okay, do you want me to say more or should we do something else?
No, that's great. Yeah, go on. You're great.
Okay. And so one of the things I did, for example, I have a colleague who had trouble closing business, and he was struggling with that. We started working together. And then over time, what happened is he would say, oh, by the way, Jack, I got 2 new clients this week. So once we work through the process for him, I see that consistently with clients. Where I see a struggle, going back to the title, the struggle I see is most people, when I'm talking to them about networking, they're saying, Jack, I have trouble converting from hi or a coffee meeting into a sales opportunity. How do I do that? So here's the thing that I found with them. You have to have a process, because people say, Jack, I spent a half an hour, an hour and a half with someone and I didn't connect with them. What's up with that? And so I said, well, here's the issue. That's the number 3 issue. There's 3 major issues why you suck at networking. Number 3 is you barf on people. So how do you fix that? You flip it and connect with them. So in Networking Mastery, of course, I developed to solve this problem. Right, we show you how to connect in 3 minutes or less consistently. And plus, we show you how to do it. Then we put you in a breakout room so you can practice. So now you have it for yourself. It's a skill. So what do you do between class 1 and 2? You practice. Connect with 5 people during the week. You're going to do that anyway. So just do it. Then we'll come back to session 2. We're going to go ahead and fix that. Whatever didn't work, we're going to fix. So session 2 is breakthrough and leverage. How we leverage, right, your network. Session 3, we put together an action plan, because the second biggest reason you suck at networking is you don't have a plan. And so we put that together. So now you have a proper next step, which is a coffee meeting in session 4 is high profit coffee meets. That's how you learn the exact format I use to convert high into real sales opportunities.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to just kind of get a little more info, about you. Where are you located, Jack?
I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay, awesome. And I also want to open it up. If anybody is watching this is, live event, and we want to make it as interactive as possible. So go ahead and, say hello and put where you're watching from. Always like to know that. I think I don't know, for some reason, I just find it interesting where people are located. And also, if anybody has any questions, we are more than happy to answer any. If you've got questions you want to know from Jack about anything we're talking about, please, by all means, feel free to put that in the comments. So, Jack, I just want to say there's something about people that have done paper routes that I just kind of resonate with. Anybody that's done a paper route has like a different kind of, I don't know, spirit to them, I feel like. So I'm curious, how did you get started? What really inspired you to get into this path that you're on?
Well, if we talk about the paper route to begin with, I was a lucky kid because I played with some kids that were, 2 doors up from me, and they had a paper route. So we were looking for someone to partner. So they asked me to partner with, their son, Jimmy. So Jimmy and I split the paper route. We did that for years. And so Jimmy had one side of the street, I had the other. My entire territory route was 6 blocks. So wasn't far from home. And we walked it. Didn't use bikes in those days. And, we had a big canvas bag over my shoulder, and we put the papers on people's doorsteps. My Christmas card event, my entrepreneurial event, I read on the back of Boys Life magazine, make big money selling Christmas cards. And I thought, well, gee, that's me, right? So I ordered a case, and I went around to my paper route, and I sold them out. And I thought, that went really well. I made some profit. So I bought another case. I went back around the route and didn't sell that many, maybe half the case. Wasn't until years later, right, that I looked back on it after I started coaching and realized, you know what? If I would have gone to the other side of the street, I probably would have sold out the other case. So that's the benefit of having a coach.
All right. Absolutely. That's so cool to me. I love that. The story is awesome. Where'd you get the money to sell these Christmas cards? From your paper route?
Yeah. I made an investment from my profits from the paper route. I invested them in the Christmas card business.
That's so great. So that's awesome. So how come you think people didn't buy on that second case around? I know you probably could have gone to the other side of the street, but I'm wondering, what happened?
Yeah. Well, when the people already bought some, they did not want any more. So I was like, okay. So I kind of, the market was full at that point. So I had to find a new marketplace. Right. So that's, the other side of the street was my closest, marketplace.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And, it all kind of comes into your network, right? I mean, as adults, we're not really, some people are still going door to door, but sometimes it's all about finding other avenues to make sales. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. It's one, what I like to focus on first is someone's target market. That's where they are the best fit for their product and service. Once we know that, that's your strong suit, then it's finding more people inside that target market. If the target market's too tiny, then we have to expand it a bit. If it's big enough, we can stay within it. We just have to find more people within it and connect with more people. What's interesting about connecting is when I started this process, I was in corporate. I came out of corporate, and here I am starting my own business. I knew no one in town. So I talked to some other guys, and so I started doing what they did. I went around to every networking group I could find, shaking hands, kissing frogs to meet people. And so, as I did the work, I connected with people and I found people. And here's something something I'll share with you about that. In the first year or so, I met over 2,500 people, and I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of people that reached out to me after we said, yeah, let's have coffee. Yet on the other side, when I reached out to them, over 90% agreed to meet with me. Mm. That brings me back to the number one reason people suck at networking is you don't follow up. And one of the reasons you don't follow up is you don't have a next step. And you have no idea. If they even buy your stuff, what are you going to do? So there's a little bit of fear mixed in there, but it's also you don't have the proper next step. So you put this, you know what the next step is, and you know how to run it. It's easy peasy stuff.
Right. So tell me a little bit about how you incorporate connecting with people into your sales process. And can you kind of give me your steps to following up with people?
Sure. Connecting is the first step. And here's why. If you can connect with someone, odds go up. You can do business with them. If you cannot connect, odds go down. So you need to learn how to connect with people rather quickly. It's easy to do that. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it on LinkedIn in terms of a reach out, you're doing it on phone calls, you're doing it with networking. The process is basically the same. And I've done thousands of these calls, so I know. Now, I still have all my body parts, so it doesn't hurt. It's just, you just kind of just do it. And the process is from connecting, then you need to have a process you use to see if they're the right fit to go to the next step. Once you know the next step, it's easy because then you're going to qualify them to see if they're the right fit. Okay, talk further, develop the need, etc. Within that. So it's not a pitch. It's more about just finding out who they are, what they want, need, and how you can serve them. It's more about giving rather than taking. And most people have a confusion about that. Sales is taking. It's not. It's actually giving. And when I find that people are struggling with selling, it's usually because they have some mismatch about their values and also what they've heard about selling, what they believe it is versus what's true about it. And that causes confusion and that holds them back. So when we transform selling, what we're doing is we're looking at deeply, some of your values, but also there's a mindset change. Now, I'll tell you what the mindset change is. The first mindset change that we're looking at is people have all these beliefs about selling and how it's taking and all that. And it's really not that. And it's pitching. It's really not that. When I ask people in my classes, I've done this for years. I say, who here loves to sell? Here's what I'll get. I'll get a couple of hands that rise very slowly like this. Okay. Right. Then when I ask them who loves to teach, the hands go up like this. So what the reality is, the best salespeople are teachers. So we have to convert the mindset from selling into teaching. It's not hard. You just have to understand that's what you're doing. You're connecting and teaching people how to use your product and service. And then you just do that again and again. Kind of the background on that is this. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, I was abandoned. My mom left, right? And so I felt abandoned. So I don't deal with rejection well at all. And me being a sales guy and, the rejection issue is not a really good match. So I had to figure out a way to make that work for myself. So I didn't feel all that rejection all the time. So the pitching doesn't work. But when I educate people and I talk with people, they can say yes or they can say no. I'm okay with that. And I can keep doing my job because I'm serving people. And that's one of the biggest things to do is to really understand that part. And that's what you do on a day-to-day basis. I find if I get away from that, I'm miserable. I'm not near as successful as when I stay true to it. So that's why I work really hard to learn and know and find out what people want and need so I can help them.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm curious, while it's important to connect with people, it's also important to continue nurturing that relationship because things don't always happen right away, right? So I'm wondering how you manage all of the connections that you've made and what kind of processes you have to, keep that relationship going.
Realizing that most of sales is a follow-up game is that what I did was I put together my quote of the week that I publish on a weekly basis. So I send that out to the people on the week on my quote of the week list that want to hear from me. So, and I've done that now successfully since 2015. It's an inspirational quote, and I just write a little bit. I write to it with an action step. So that's one way for me to stay consistently in touch. And I'm going to get a couple hundred people to open the email on a weekly basis, but that's 100, 200 phone calls I'm not going to make. Besides, when I look, it varies. Some people open it every time. Some people open it every 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm communicating with people that way. Plus, I have a CRM, and what I can do is I know when people said follow up with me, I can look and I know when to follow up with them. So I can call them and stay in touch with them on a regular basis. Plus, if I'm doing a class, I'll send them an email inviting them to my classes. So I'm staying in touch with the people that I know right, on a regular basis.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So someone like me, I'd be on your list of, okay, I talk to this guy 4 times a week. Maybe I don't need to be as intentional about that outreach, right? But people who maybe it's like, I don't know, do you have like any sort of cadence of, reaching out once or twice a month with certain people? Or I'm just kind of curious, I know you use a CRM and yeah, I'm just curious kind of what that looks like.
In the follow-up cadence, I use email for that for the most part because I have so many other things to do. I just can't, follow up with everybody all the time. So, and there's some people I do follow up with, and I do call them and chat with them, but it's not that many. I found that that's not the best use of my time, especially when I'm doing other events. So I'd rather reach out to them, invite them to events. I'll call them and talk to them every now and then. But it's not like a regular cadence, like a certain number I reach out to on a weekly basis. Maybe I should, but I find it's more useful, like on LinkedIn, to spend time reaching out to new people on LinkedIn and connecting with them and keep building, my database, keep building it, and in the right way, exposing myself to new people.
Right. What's the phrase? Something about like if you're not prospecting, you're dead. Something like that. What? How does that sit with you?
That's probably true. If you're not reaching out in some way to people, right, then you don't exist. So you have to reach out. You have to find a way to keep in front of people, especially in your target market. So when I'm doing my LinkedIn reach outs, I'm reaching out into people that I think are in my target market, right, seeing if we can connect and start a conversation. I've been successful with that. I've gotten clients from LinkedIn. Some people reach out to me and we talk. It makes a fit. So we move forward. Sometimes I'm reaching out and finding people. Some people are ready, some people are not. And that's okay. I mean, I understand the process. It's just being consistent with that process. And so my challenge right now is, honestly, I'm starting to post more on LinkedIn, some of my own work. And so I'm starting to gin that up so I can post on a daily basis. But again, that's marketing and that's reaching out to people.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So I want to talk about Michael Gray's comment. He said, true dat, gotta be in it to win it. It's kind of funny, today we're in your business builder group, we're talking about consistency, right? And we're talking about prospecting and, all of this is very important. But ultimately, we got to have a system, right? So I know that you as a strategic business coach and sales transformation specialist, I know that you're helping people with their selling systems, right? Can you tell us a little bit about what a selling system is?
Okay, here's the truth about it. We all have a selling system. Some of them work a lot better than others. So whatever you're doing right now in sales is your system. If you can identify the steps that work, you now have the opportunity to be highly effective with it. When I'm talking about the selling system I put together, this is a strategic selling system that takes it out of the transactional mode into a strategic mode. So now you know what you're doing step by step. So it's more than just saying, oh, if they say this, you say that. It's bigger than that. And all you have to do is learn it. When you learn it, all you do is selling step to step, one step to the next. If people are interested, they will move to the next step. If they're not, they will not. And that's fine. You saved a ton of time because they're not interested. And my selling system is available. If you want to see it, it's what I put together. It's on my website at jackrand.com. You can go there. You'll see my handsome face on the right side of the page. On the left side, you'll see my program, Selling Step to Step. And you can download the 7 simple sales steps. That's free to you. As a gift, I'll send you my quote of the week.
Awesome.
It's important you have a system because then you're in control of it. You'll know what the next step is and where you want people to go. Make sense?
Yeah. Are there any standard best practices that you do recommend everybody has within their sales system?
Yes. The selling system I use, the first step is people are raising their hand, so to speak, and saying, I'm interested in your service or product. So the next step after that is I want to go through a process where I'm going to qualify them with a discovery session to see if there's the right fit for me. Also, I want to find out more what they do because sometimes they're a partner for me. We can collaborate, we can cooperate on things, even though they may not want my product. There's ways we can work together. So what I always do is a discovery session with them. Then from there, we take the next step to whatever they would like to do. So sometimes we're done there. Other times we're going to take another step. They could do a class. They could buy the book. They could become a member of the group. Just depends on what they want to do after that. But I'm always doing that discovery session. That discovery session tells me most everything I need to know if I want to take the next step or not.
Okay. Now, what are people typically saying that they need before they come and work with you?
They're saying two things. First one is, I need to close more business. Second thing is usually, I hate selling. And they have to sell to grow their business, but they avoid it, and it's really dicey for them. So when I'm dealing with that, that's when we look at the transformation process, so we can give them a system and have them transform it for them so it works, so it's authentic to them, and it feels right. It feels like they're having fun with it, and they're meeting people, and they're discovering that they're the right fit or not. It's fun. It's highly effective. You just have to do the steps one at a time.
Okay, that makes sense. And so some of the different options that you have for people to work with you, I really like how you have made it very clear and simple. And I think that simplicity is definitely one of the keys to sales, right? So tell me a little bit about the options, the different ways that people can engage with you.
I have 3 ways people can work with me. First way, we can do one-on-one coaching. The second way is we can do groups. And the third way is classes. So it depends upon where you're at budget-wise, what your time is like, what's the best fit for you. Most of the time with clients, I'm mixing and matching that so they can get what they need. And the courses, I don't like to add them onto a coaching engagement because I want them bundled in, because if we do that in a one-on-one basis, it takes longer. I can do it. And of course, you get it in a really condensed format and you see it all in one place and you get to work with other people. So I love doing the classes. I love doing the groups for that reason. If that doesn't fit your budget, then of course I can buy the book, right? You can, hang out. It just depends. I want to serve people. So I just put together some affordable options for them.
Okay, awesome. And so tell me about what you have. I know that there's a networking mastery coming up. Is that next week, right?
Yes, Networking Mastery is next week, starts on Wednesday, the 15th. And that is 4 sessions. They're a week apart at the same time, same station. And we take you through the process step by step. So you'll know at the end how to have high profit coffee meetings. So at the end, what you're going to know when you do a coffee meeting, you can do this in 15 minutes, no kidding. You're going to know A, potential customer, B, a referral partner, C, a friend, or D, perhaps you shouldn't see them again too soon. All those are fair. Most people just don't know how to parse it. Once you know how to parse it, you know exactly what to do for the next step, which includes nothing else. When you're done that. Or it's like, let's do a strategy session. Perfect. You know exactly what to do from there. So I love that approach. So the sessions are 1, connecting, show you to connect and give you the experience in session 1. Session 2 is breakthrough. That's where we fix whatever you didn't work on with your connecting, whatever that was. And then we show you how to leverage your network. Session 3 is your action plan. Why? The number 2 reason people suck at networking is they don't have a plan. Other than, I hope I get lucky. And we all know how that turns out. What we do is we build a step for them so they have a next step. So it's easy to go from high into a next step if they're the right fit, if there's interest. And then the 4th session is we do high profit coffee meetings. I take you through the exact method I used and developed over the last 15 years, right, to connect with people and find out if they're the right fit to go for a sales opportunity. And you have the opportunity to practice as well.
Oh, that's important. Okay. So I'm curious about your discoveries that you're doing. Do you have like standard questions that you ask, or do you recommend people have standard questions that they kind of have in their back pocket for when they do these coffee meetings or when they do a discovery?
Yeah. What I like is my coffee meetings, I have 5 questions I always ask.
Okay.
And the reason I ask that is once you start doing it and it's consistent, you'll begin to see where people are. And you'll be able to say, the person that really went far answered this way. People that don't go anywhere answer that way. You'll now be able to tell rather quickly where they are and be able to understand that and parse it. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just a process to streamline your time so you're more effective. So I always ask those questions, and it works. And then when I'm doing discovery, I have a set of questions at about 13 questions. I always ask in discovery. Then I know where people are. And they're friendly, they're easy, and everyone will answer them. So it's not hard. So if you want,
Okay.
I'll give you my number one question I always ask.
Yeah, please.
This is easy. I'll meet someone. I'll ask them, how did you get started in this business? And they will tell me a story. Oh, I got started in this. I asked that to one guy. And he says, he sits back in his chair in his office. Now, let me tell you, I hated this business. I thought it was the most stupid business in the world. And then I got laid off and I couldn't find a job. My brother-in-law was in this business, pizza business, by the way, Domino's Pizza. My brother-in-law was in the business, said, why don't you come join me? He says, I said, fine, I'll do it. I love the business, Jack. It's the best thing ever. And we turned up being friends, loaned me a book. I think I still have it. I need to give it back at some point. Okay. But that's what's available when you ask that. Once people tell you their story, they love you. You want to give them that opportunity to connect with you.
Absolutely. Okay. So tell me a little bit about, you mentioned leveraging your network. I'm curious to learn more from you about what exactly you mean by that.
When you're networking, there's two types of people you're looking for. One is obviously potential customers. The second are connectors. Who are people that can connect you with your target market? So you're looking for those opportunities to do a partnership with them, to be a referral partner with them. And that's missed by most people. So when you're leveraging your network, I call it leapfrog, right? You can now talk to someone and say, hey, look, I'd like to meet someone in this industry, right? Who do you know that does this? People will tell you. I'll tell you why. People love to help you. For example, if you need a car mechanic, you talk to your friends, I need a car mechanic. People will say, oh, yeah, I got a guy for you. Oh, yeah, here, try. They'll help you. If someone asks you about that, you'll say, yeah, I got someone. So it's natural. It's innate in us to do that. It's natural in the human world. I mean, in the animal world, as a matter of fact. So the point being is that you can just tap right into that once you have the relationship and a connection with someone. So that's the leverage part of it.
Right. It's funny, and so many people will go to a networking event, and I've had some interesting experiences. Some where you'll explain what it is that you do, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and that conversation just kind of ends there. For whatever reason that might be. Maybe they don't think there's anything there. But I love what you mentioned about connectors. And when people ask me or Michael Gray about who our golden connection is, it's always a connector, because, like you're saying, they can provide so much more value than whatever day-to-day thing they're doing, right? If they identify as a connector and they want to make those connections for you, that can be exponential for your business, right?
Absolutely. I'm positioned as a connector. I connect people all the time with people they want to meet, with people I think that would be good for them to meet, to connect with, because they can get together with, pardon me, let me say this right, so they can, right, leverage their business. I do several a week like that. And I love doing that because I've seen people just grow their business exponentially by having the right connections.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, we're talking about converting hello into sales, and that doesn't always just mean the one-off sale, right? If you can get a connector who, connect with a connector and they end up loving everything about your business, that can be the best sale that you make at a networking event, right? And so that kind of falls into what we call golden connections. And I know that you had mentioned, as far as your golden connection is concerned, that you're primarily looking for self-employed business marketing professionals, people that are service-based professionals. And I'm curious to know a little bit more about how you identified your target market, and if you can explain, like, really give us a pretty granular detail about who your target market is.
Sure. Let me start with my avatar. My avatar is someone who's on their second or third career. They've started a business. They're being successful. Now they're struggling to scale or grow it. They've also tried other programs, but that they haven't got quite the answer yet. So that's the avatar. The avatar lives inside your target market or your niche. So my niche, if we come up a couple levels, I work in services, not medical or not aerospace, but in the services industries. I work a lot with coaches, and I work a lot with professional service providers, such as financial advisors, insurance agents, accountants, people like that. that are providing services to people. How I found that was I started talking to people and I started keeping track. And I put together a whole course. This was 40 years ago. I put it together on how to find your target market. There's a process for it that's really straightforward. You just have to do the work. So whether you are new at this or you've been at it for a while and have hundreds of customers, the process works and you'll see it. You'll know what your target market is. The beauty of that is once you know what your target market looks like, the profile, for example, of your best customer, you can find more of them. Because what's the evidence for that? When you go to the market, if you're looking for bananas, you have no idea what a banana looks like, you're in trouble. However, most of us know what a banana looks like, so we can find it rather easily. Same process. Another example, because what happens is at the base of your brain, right down up and tucked up under here and in the bottom part of your skull, there's a reticulating formation. And part of its job is to identify patterns. So it identifies patterns for you automatically. That's how you can spot your friend's house on the block without the address. You know the pattern, what it looks like, and the house is next to it. Also, if you ever have bought a car, even a new car, and driven it off the lot, what you start seeing right away, more cars just like it. When we bought the red Jeep Liberty, I did not know there were so many red Jeep Liberties in Colorado Springs. They were all over town because my awareness, my reticulating information was helping spot them for me. So once you know the profile of your best customer, you'll be able to find more of them because you'll spot the patterns. You'll know what they look like, how they act, and that streamlines the process for you.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So, and then as far as, networking with these people, how do you go about finding those people? Because you'll know them when you meet them, but what kind of things do you like to do to find more of your target customers?
If I'm on LinkedIn, for example, I'm looking for coaches. Pretty obvious. I'm looking for service providers. I'm looking for financial advisors. So I'll particularly target them to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a networking event, I used to go to lots of them in person. Now I don't go so much. I'll ask to meet them. For example, I go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting. They have an ambassador. You find the ambassador. You say, look, I want to meet a financial advisor. They'll say, oh, I know one. They'll take you over and introduce you to the financial advisor. That easy.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Okay. Right.
But you have to hunt them. You have to be aware of what you're looking for. Otherwise, you're going to meet a ton of people that you don't want to meet. Now, you could get lucky and they're like perfect fit for you. Most times not. In fact, when you networking mastery, what we're going to show you how to do, if you go to an in-person networking event, most people spend 2 or 3 hours at those things and come away with nothing. We're going to show you how you can go to an event like that, get your work done in about 45 minutes, and you can go home if you want to. And you'll go home with at least 5 new connections.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for the networking mastery next week. I'm all about sharpening my tools, and I know that those are, that amongst many other things are what you are great at. I'm curious. I want to dig into your book. You have a book, Secrets of a Strategic Business Coach.
Right? I do.
And I would love to know what some of the secrets are that you've got in there.
You have to buy the book, Daniel.
Oh, come on. Give me one. Give me one.
Okay. All right. Let's start at the beginning because most of what I talked about is in the book. Well, let's start at the beginning, chapter 1. In chapter 1, what we talk about is to get something going, you have to be in touch with your vision. So what's your vision? And that doesn't live in numbers. Visions don't have numbers. It's a feeling. It's an experience of how you want to live your life. And then we all have that. And I was talking to one client on the phone one day. And I said, what's your vision? She says, Jack, I have no idea. So I was stumped. So I thought, okay, well, do you want to be living under the bridge in a cardboard box? She says, hell no. I want this. She wanted a car and a house, ... That's her vision. It doesn't have to be that you're going to save the world or be a multinational corporate president. It's very straightforward for yourself how you want your life to be. And there's a role that your business plays in that. So once we get in touch with that, the purpose of your business, then the goals come fairly easily. And we start tinkering with them. Most people will tell me that they want what I call the American standard. That's 6-figure income, the car, the house, ... So we put a plan together for them to get that. Within about 3 months, they're whining that it doesn't work. And the reason is it's out of whack. It's not what they really want. So I'll ask them, what do you really want? Then they tell me, they go, we put a plan together for that, and they get successful. It's a process. You just have to know it. So getting in touch with that and knowing that there's a cycle to it. There are 7 steps to the cycle that I discovered when I was putting my personal results system together. That 1 is your vision, 2, your purpose, 3, you're going to have goals. When you have goals, next natural step, right, is to take some action. It's natural. It's inherent. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction or result. Right? So you have results. So now you know if your goals are working. You check the results. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Makes
Okay.
perfect sense. I'm curious, a lot of people recommend using like a scoreboard to keep track of where you're at, kind of have a pulse on your business. How important do you think that is for people in their business?
It's critical if you use it to see what's working and what's not and adjust. If it's a judgment, it doesn't work well. For example, suppose you wanted 10 new customers for a month and you got 1. If you look back, you're going to see what worked to get 1. Now just duplicate it. What was that? What was the process? What was the pattern for me? That will work. If you find out, well, I only talked to 1 person, I got 1 customer. Well, if you want 10, what does that tell you? Talk to 10 people, perhaps. Talk to 100. But but you have to use it for that purpose, and then it will work for you. Otherwise, it's just a judgment. You're going to screw yourself in the ground in a very bad way.
Right. So what are some of the things you would recommend people have on their scorecard or metrics they're tracking? And probably specific to your niche, but what are some things that you recommend people actually do track to help them grow?
When we start doing the goals process, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, what your number 1 goal is. We stay pretty tight to the number 1 goal. If you have too many, you get confused. Nothing gets done. Usually, as we boil it down, it's going to become a revenue number, a gross revenue number. And the second thing is going to be number of customers. If we focus on the number of customers at the right level, the money shows up. So then if we look at, okay, if you want 10 new customers, what are the activities you have to do? 1, 2, 3 activities you must do to get them. We have to know exactly what they are. Those activities become what's known as KPIs, key performance indicators. So we know that if you're reaching out and you're talking to 10 people a week or 10 people a day, whatever the plan is, odds go up, you're going to get your numbers. If you're not, odds go down. But you have to be doing the right activities and then keep it moving and build momentum into it. Most people don't have enough momentum into the process to really make it work for them. But we have to scale it at a level that's good for them. You're not going to go from 1 call to 100 calls a week and sustain it usually. You can go from 1 to maybe 2 or 10, right? And we can build from there. And we'll just build the process, build the system for you so you can sustain it. People don't go from 2,000 a month to 10,000 a month overnight. It's a process, and they're building into it, building the systems, the processes, the connections, all that to make it work so consistently they can achieve the revenue. But we have to put it together step by step. Otherwise, it's a recipe for failure. We'll get a skyrocket, which means you did something really good 1 month, but then it drops off and you can't repeat it. So those skyrockets scare me, by the way, right? So I'm not saying don't take the money. I mean, take the money, yes. But again, it's more important to learn what worked about that. So now we can hopefully repeat it and build your run rate. So you're going to get, 2 customers a month, 4, 6, 8. Pretty soon you're going to have a run rate where you're getting the 10 customers. I'll tell you a story about that. A client of mine, this was over Christmas time. This was about 5 years ago. And Suzanne was whining. She was selling Legal Shield. And she was whining that she only got like 5 new clients, that for both from December and January. And she was whining about this for some time. I said, Suzanne. She goes, what? Remember when 5 was a big number? She goes, oh yeah. She settled down because now she's doing way more than that on a regular monthly basis. But she had the system in place to do it. And it took us some time to put that together for her, but it's easy. I mean, she's doing a ton more work. We kind of stripped away the work. Just got to do the things that work. And it worked out well for her.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So I'm curious, was there anything specific you talk about, how about being able to keep track of what worked and what didn't? In her experience, was there anything specific that she did that helped her go from where she was at to where she is now?
A couple of things. One, she was trying to handle all the business personally and driving all over town, like to get someone to sign some documents to sign up. So I told her, you can just do that by phone because I've closed deals for $250,000 on the phone. No reason why you can't close someone to enroll into Legal Shield by doing an online application to streamline the process. That was saved her a ton of time. And the second thing we did was we built a networking group. She already had it going, but we built it because that was her honeypot. People would invite people to come to our networking group. She'd meet them and she could connect with them to sell them Legal Shield. So we put together a better prospecting system for her, right? That didn't take so much time. So she didn't have to walk all over town and meet so many people. She could meet them from the event we put together. So having that event and streamlining her process really streamlined her time and built her focus.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I'm all about creating ways to do things in bulk for sure. So I think that's a great idea. Curious if you have any other examples of ways people can maximize their sales by essentially selling in a group format or, more than just to the one-off type of person.
The process starts when you're talking one-to-one with people and you practice your presentation. The evolution of that is speaking one to many. So if you have an opportunity to speak to a group, right, you should take it. Because now you're in the same presentation you would normally do. You're just doing it to more people, to 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, whatever that number is. The odds go up. And when I've spoken to a group, I've got like 6 people to enroll in my, networking mastery course. Okay. And I did just a 20-minute talk. I could have done, 6 20-minute talks, but I did it all at one time. So that's a way to leverage what you're doing. So again, when you talk about the leverage of it, that's part of the process. When you look at the unicorn, right? Unicorn's a great place to give a talk, right? It's people collect, have a common interest, right? They want to build their business. Yeah, they're well qualified. Why not?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you speak on, because we have had you come to one of our events and talk about the top 3 reasons why people suck at networking. And I thought that was great. So you clearly can speak to that. You can clearly speak to sales. Wondering, what other kind of speaking engagements are you interested in? And, what are those things that you speak about?
Oh, there's 2 other ones. One, I'll do a talk on the 7 simple sales steps, how to improve your sales, right? It's fun, it's easy, it's effective. And that's the system I put together. That's my framework that I speak on that. And then I also speak on the personal result system. That's the cycle that I use, right, to have people take care of themselves, renew themselves, put together their plan, etc. So I'll speak on that.
Okay, awesome. And do you just do virtual speaking engagements? Do you do any like public speaking on stage, or tell me a little bit about how you like to do those?
I have done speaking on stage, but with COVID, I've stopped doing that. Now I prefer doing talks virtually. I find this more effective for my time. I mean, if someone wants to take me and my wife somewhere and it's fun, I'll go. But otherwise, I'm probably not. I'll do things virtually. It's easier for me.
Right. I mean, we talk about leverage and large numbers. That definitely seems to make things easier. That being said, you can definitely get everyone's attention, right, by being the person on stage in an in-person event, right?
And actually, my degree is in speech communications, right?
Okay.
I love talking on stage. I love going up there and performing. It's great fun for me. I just have to be prudent about how I do it.
That makes sense.
Most people would rather give body parts than give a talk. For me, it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So I just want to put it out there because this is what I love to do is, if anybody is looking for a great speaker and presenter, specifically for virtual events, but I imagine if somebody had an in-person event, you wouldn't be too quick to turn it down, right?
Again, I wouldn't be quick to turn it down. If it's the right fit, I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, so we definitely want to make sure to reach out and make that happen. So let's see here. What else do you have anything else coming up that we should know about? You've got the networking mastery next week. I'm in your business builder group. Are you accepting new people for that?
Yes, I'm accepting new people into the business builder group, and it's designed to build the foundation for your business. So we're going to take it step by step. What we do is we have projects inside that. So you're working on a project, plus you have access to all my classes. So we're working with you diligently. In the group format, I work with people, but also it's collaborative. So people in the group can help you build your business, gives you ideas, discuss things, all that stuff that you need to build your business. And I found it to be highly effective for people. They move a lot faster that way. It's a subscription model. And what I found is that I had one a few years ago, people will drop out unless they have a connection with me and are working on projects. So now I have office hours where the group meets and we talk about your project. Whatever your project is what we're going to focus on. So everyone has different homework, but it relates to their project. Sometimes it's all the same homework. Other times it's just different. So it just depends on where you are and what you want to accomplish. And that's the key, is having it being focused and directed toward you. So that is the piece I love to build. I love working with groups. That's probably my favorite way to work with people. I do one-on-one coaching, but that's limited. Let me see. And the course I have coming up in June, I'm going to be doing Find Your Niche, which is about your target market. Find your target market in June, right? But Find Your Niche is in my next. I'll take that back. Networking Mastery is my next live course. The other two classes are virtual classes. You can go online, you can buy them, and just take them at your own speed. I just recorded me doing the class. It's exactly as I do it, right, step by step, and it's right there for you. And it's affordable.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious because I know, having experienced your business builder group, I know the value that you provide there. I'm curious, why did you start it in the first place?
Because I had an epiphany that I wanted to do more groups. And I had the idea, and I've done groups for years. I've led mastermind groups for years. So I had like a bout of the flu, and I walked out one Saturday morning and told my wife, I'm going to do more groups. And she said, well, thank you for sharing. And then I went back to bed. So then I had the idea, how do I do it? So I started just calling some people I knew. Said, here's what I'm doing. What do you think? I said, yeah, I'm in. So after I got about 8 people, I thought, well, I should put this together. I should actually put a web page together on it. So I put a web page together and just built it from there. But it's something I love to do. It's also gives people the access to all my work in the library as well as in the groups. So they can, if they're interested in building their business, this is a really great way to do that, to have access to all the information you need and support, because the group exists outside the meetings. I encourage people to talk to each other, have buddies, and I find that works out really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to mention, it's been sitting on my screen. We have set up a way just to kind of streamline the connection to Jack. You can find him on LinkedIn and his website. But if at any point you're listening to this and want to just get kind of an introduction and get connected with him via email, get a conversation set up, you can always go to jackrand.unicornuniverse.io, and that will get you connected with him right away. So I want to put that out there. And of course, you can check out his website to learn more and you have the 7 steps to the 7. Will you give me the 7 steps again?
7 simple sales steps.
Okay. Yeah. You would think I could get that by now, right? 7 simple sales steps. I still can't get it right. Cool. So I think that's awesome. I wanted to know, we've got just a couple more minutes left. From some of the things that you've done with people, and, I really like the business builder group, so maybe it's involved with that in some way. Can you tell me about some of the transformation that you've seen from people that have worked with you? And I'd love a story, like an example of, somebody came in and you really helped them go from where they were at to somewhere that was like, a huge transformation. Do you have any examples that you could share with us?
Sure. One is the financial advisor, one of my first clients. And he, was making probably $2,000-$3,000 a month, but wasn't consistent. He's a retired colonel from the Air Force. I say, Jack, I want to build my business. How do I do it? So he became. I'm getting an echo now. I don't know why that happened. But can you hear the echo, Daniel?
I cannot.
Okay, it's on my end. So I started working with Doug, and I was teaching him my selling system before I had the name for it. He went on, and we worked together for a couple of years, but now he makes multiple 6 figures. He's a regional vice president using the system I put together and taught him. There's another gal named Monica. She's the coach. and she was having trouble getting people to enroll in her courses. We started working together, and now she has courses that she has people regularly enroll in them. Right? She has another class she's putting together where she's selling it now to companies. These people came from not knowing how to do it to knowing how to do it easily.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Well, and I can see it, already some of the things that you've suggested and that the group has suggested have paid off. And that's what I really like about this format that you have. It is very much in a mastermind style where it's not just you and me, which I think would be great, but you really get to leverage everybody that's in the group. And I've noticed you have some really incredible people in the Business Builder group. So I think that's awesome. So let's see. What would you say is the best way for people to connect with you?
If you would like to connect with me, of course, you can use, the Unicorn Connector link. That's absolutely acceptable. Or you can go to my website at jackrand.com. At the top is a connect button. Click on connect and jump on my calendar.
Awesome. And are you pretty active? Where would you say you're most active on social media?
LinkedIn is my primary spot. I'm there almost every day.
Okay.
I'm off on the weekends, by the way, but during the business week, I'm there.
That makes sense, unless I'm texting you during the weekend.
Unless you're texting me, and then I go there more often. Yes, Daniel, that's true.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate your time, Jack. Any last things you would like to mention before we wrap this up?
This would be a call to action for the Networking Mastery Group. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to me, go to jackrand.com. Happy to talk with you about it, see what's in it for you, if you feel that calling for yourself.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, I'm looking forward to that next week. I think it'll be incredibly valuable. Really can't thank you enough, Jack, for sharing all of this valuable information with everybody. And I look forward to learning more from you. I'm grateful to be involved in your group and you in mine. And yeah, this has been great. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your day.
You're welcome.
If you're looking to generate revenue by being a connector or by getting referrals for your existing business, then check out how Unicorn Universe creates abundance through connections in our community by going to unicornconnector.com. That's unicornconnector.com. Stay tuned, follow us, and hit the subscribe button as we expand on ways to grow your network, generate income from opportunities we avail, interview our partners and connectors, and show you how to become the magical unicorn connector that you are.